Your loved ones are dying, and zombies are coming for your flesh. There's no way out except through one train to Busan, but you'll never get there. What do? I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the zombies in Seoul Station. No one knows it yet, but by morning, over 30 million people will die as the sun sets on a peaceful Seoul for the very last time. A homeless man is bleeding out from a bite mark as he walks into Seoul Station. The man then plops down near the stairs in a metro full of people. The deadliest virus in human history is flowing through his body, and he is about to get everyone killed by nightfall. In another part of town, we see Hye-sun, an unemployed bum, or she might as well be, waking up in her boyfriend's tiny, messy apartment and goes looking for him. The rent is due and the landlord is pissed. Hye-sun finds her boyfriend at an internet cafe and catches him trying to pimp her out online for cash, and she flips out. A fight breaks out and cue the yelling and tears cause it's oh so sad. The boyfriend then breaks up with her and storms off. And now with no boyfriend and no home, Hye-sun breaks down crying. She decides to head to Seoul Station, where the homeless are to seek shelter for the night, not realizing that this horrifying night isn't over. In fact, her fun times are just about to start. Meanwhile, the boyfriend meets up with a man who responded to the ad he posted online. Turns out this man is Hye-sun's father, and he's royally pissed and forces the boyfriend to take him to Hye-sun. Little does the boyfriend know that Hye-sun's daddy will destroy everything he loves soon enough. Back at Seoul Station, Hye-sun is walking past rows of homeless people, and suddenly a bunch of men run past her terrified, and that's when she sees it. A horrifying zombie pouncing on the warm flesh of a human. Terrified at what she sees, Hye-sun starts running for her life. That's a bona fide zombie if I've seen one, and now we're in trouble because we're about to be alone with undead flesh-eating monsters who will never not stop feeding, which means we're screwed. But we don't have time to think because in this situation, it's fight or flight, and I'm definitely choosing flight because I'm cold, in a tight dress, and not prepared for anything. There's actual zombies here. I can't do shit. And forget arming yourself with anything because down here we're already at a disadvantage being cornered and outnumbered. We don't need to fight. We need to run. I don't need to be the fastest, so long as I'm not the slowest, and if I can run past the older people, I guarantee the zombies will pick them over me. In fact, if we wanted to be even more heartless, I'd purposely trip, stop, and push anybody I see on the way out of the metro. They may have a head start on me, but I'm younger, more agile, at least compared to their malnourished, starved selves. If y'all wanted to be extra sneaky, I would have darted right behind the exit from the metro, behind that little wall there. If the zombies' line of sight was cut off from the corner of the wall for just a second, that would have been time I could have used to hide and run in the opposite direction, whilst the suckers lead them the other way. Hye-sun and the others find their way into a police station where they beg the cops to listen to them, claiming the people have gone mad. The world is about to end, and these cops of course don't listen until the brain-hungry suckers come crashing through the door. But Hye-sun and a group decide to hold up in a cell as a last resort. Turns out one of them is bitten, and the cop guy isn't looking too hot. He makes a stand as he threatens everyone with his pistol, knowing what they know, that he's already dead. Then, Tank Top Dude makes lemonade with the situation and beats the shit out of cop guy, causing him to pass out for good. At the same time, Hye-sun grabs the gun in shock and fear until Tank Top Dude swipes it from her. Just then, cop guy comes back from the dead, biting this guy until he gets shot in the big thinker by Tank Top Dude. Ugh, this was a bad situation from the start. I wouldn't have even stopped by the police station to begin with. There are way too many zombies coming for us. If we wanted some police attention, I would have at the most grabbed a piece of rock whilst running to throw at the police glass door, which would have gotten the attention of the cops without slowing me down. But since we already cornered ourselves, zombies are already something that people would have had a hard time believing. But unlike Tank Top Dude whining to the police, I wouldn't have used the word insane. Instead, I would have yelled and screamed that there was a huge fire outside, which would have been much more believable and would have gotten the cops to get off their asses. Now, no cop in their right mind would let me hide under their desk, especially if they didn't know what was going on to begin with, and using anything to chain the door would have been useless since it's made of glass and doesn't seem to be bulletproof. I would have only gone through there in order to divert the zombies by going through the station and out through one of the few exits that police stations usually have, either exiting through the employee entrance, the intake entrance, or the emergency exit. However, I would have only done this once the zombies entered the police station to make sure that no cops cops try to stop me, or worse, tase me, as the last thing we want to be is free fried food for these brain munchers. And if we're talking about brain munchers, we as a society have gotten to the point where zombies are common pop culture knowledge. They didn't need to wait for that bitten cop to get up and bite hoodie guy in order to have known that he was gonna turn into a zombie. Stop being stupid, stupid! Hye-sun lays trapped with tank top dude as the zombies outnumber their bullets. They will die if they don't do something, but then help suddenly arrives, or at the very least a distraction, as riot control shows up late to the meat party. The zombies attack them as Hye-sun and tank top dude bolt out of the back entrance of the station, narrowly escaping through the small alley until they run into an ambulance. It's chaos everywhere as ambulance guy quickly picks them up and drives off. He tries to treat both Hye-sun and tank top dude, but something is up. Hye-sun checks her phone and realizes she's got missed calls from her ex-boyfriend, and ambulance guy then tells them that the hospital they're heading to is full of bite victims, so they'll have to wait their turn. But tank top guy waits for nothing as he freaks out and demands the ambulance to stop, getting physical with the driver, causing them to crash. Alright, this whole nonsense could have been avoided if they just layered their efforts with some calm, cool collectedness. I would have used the time the riot squad gave me as time I could have used to scavenge what I could quickly from the police station, such as checking out anything I could have used for armor and the armory for weapons, as it likely would have only been accessible with a keycard, so I would have checked out cop guy's corpse in the jail cell first. Now, there were quite a few zombies, but from the looks of things, the riot squad seemed to outnumber them, which means we probably would have been safe if we waited it out anyway, and that means we had time to search for weapons before leaving out of the back. I would have placed useless Hye-sun on lookout in a hidden corner as to not be visible, and even more useless, and would have gone myself to search for the armory. If I couldn't find it within a short period of time, or if it was empty, then I would have at least grabbed myself a stapler or a sharp pen on the way out. Something, at least. The ambulance was a great move, as you don't want to be caught dead on foot anyways, and it has the stuff we need for great first aid if you need it. However, forcing it to crash was not needed. I would have calmly stated that we wanted to leave the ambulance and not to be driven to the hospital. Or I would have grabbed a sharp scalpel or some sharpened equipment such as a sterile needle and would have threatened the ambulance driver to pull over. The crash itself, we couldn't have done much if we were the ones to set it off. However, assuming we survived it, which we did, then I would have first and foremost picked up a first aid kit from within the truck, or would have made my own homemade first aid bag, making sure to collect various items very likely to be found within an ambulance, like aloe vera gel, scissors, medical tape, anti-inflammatory drugs, basically enough items to ensure that we can treat most simple wounds. Make a sling, make a splint, treat a burn, among other things, as bites won't be the only thing we need to look out for now that no one's coming to save us, and it's only a matter of time until our luck runs out. After the crash, Hye-sun and tank top dude walk out without a scratch, and then make their way towards the metro, and with a little muscle and some freak motivation, they manage to bust their way through the closed metro entrance. They don't realize it yet, but if they don't find somewhere to hold up, it's only a matter of time until millions of zombies come for their throats. They keep walking with no phone signal or idea of where they're going, as all the stations are filled with zombies, until they reach Haehyun Station. Hye-sun finally gets reception and calls her boyfriend to tell him her location, just as they run into another group of terrifying zombies. They run for their lives, with more and more zombies joining the chase, not knowing where or how they'll make it out of this one until luck plays to their favor. They spot a group of men standing around a makeshift barricaded wall, carrying weapons and balls of steel. They signal over to Hye-sun and tank top dude to come over to them quickly. It's safe to assume by how they walked out of that metro that there were no zombies in there, and so I would have stayed hidden on the steps just below the street's line of sight before making that call. This could have helped them avoid those first two zombies to begin with, while we waited nice and comfortably for our rescue to come to us. If we had to expose ourselves for the sake of catching a phone signal, she could have at least stayed low and hidden behind a trash can or something and not stand in the middle of the street like an idiot. Also, I'd start to worry about my feet, as you, my dear, still have no shoes on. Even before an apocalypse, I could have told you that walking barefoot in the city could result in all sorts of nasty things sneaking into your foot like ringworms. This was our chance to at least find some shoes, potentially better protective clothing and weaponry lying around, because as much as I hate her and love tank top dude, they're really stupid to not have bothered to look for any weapons or better clothing by now. This would have been one of my top priorities from the get-go, especially when we have extra moments of peace and quiet. Also, we've gone a long while without any food and water. The infection has taken over the town, and there are bound to be cars parked around. If we look for a family car, we may be able to salvage some food and water and stay hidden inside and wait for our ex-boyfriend. If we're lucky enough to find the keys, we could drive it, circling around the block until our ex-boyfriend reaches us. And at least this way, we won't get mouth-tagged by zombies. Hell, we could have driven away without a boyfriend at this point. Girl power. Now, as much as I'd like to break into shops to scavenge, unless we could pick the lock, breaking in would have been too noisy. It is nighttime after all, and with the power grid still up, we definitely would have risked setting off any potential store alarms, and then we'd definitely be in trouble. Aside from raiding any cars, I would have also taken this opportunity to look for any alleys full of dumpsters, where we could have looked for cardboard and layered materials to wrap up our arms and legs in to protect us from bites. And if we salvaged any tape from the ambulance, which I talked about earlier, then we would have at the very least would have been able to create some makeshift zombie armor. Hyesun and Tank Top Dude make it over to the makeshift barricade as Mr. Tough Guy here and his friends fight off the rest of the zombies chasing them. Inside the barricade, lots of people sit and stand terrified as the entire alley is blocked off, one side from the barricade and the other side by the police, who are threatening them to leave as they claim that the scared folk are participating in an unlawful assembly. Everybody is trapped and everyone knows it. They're on borrowed time. Hundreds, then thousands, and then millions of zombies close in, quickly overwhelming Mr. Tough Guy and his friends as they struggle to fight them all off. People are dying left and right as Tank Top Dude tries to climb the bus but is fatally shot, killing him. The soldiers aren't playing around and are ready to kill anyone who tries to climb over that bus, forcing everybody inside to exit from the other way, where millions upon millions of zombies are coming from. This barricade is about to collapse as countless zombies close in. They break through the barricade defense as Mr. Tough Guy and his friends fail to handle them, resulting in an all-you-can-eat Korean barbecue as the zombies pounce, chew, and bite their way through everybody. The smell of walking corpses and people dying horrible bloody deaths is enough to scare the shit out of Mr. Tough Guy as he gives up and takes off, making a makeshift ladder and begins climbing over the electric line. Hyesun tries to do the same, but struggles to hang on as Mr. Tough Guy comes back to give her a hand and of course kills himself in the process. She manages to climb to safety for a brief second before she gets chased down by more zombies through an office, up the stairs, and onto the roof, doing crazy stunts until one of them trips her along a metal scaffolding, causing her to fall hard. You know what? I have to commend Hyesun for not getting herself killed sooner. It's honestly quite impressive and unbelievable. Well done. She could have saved herself and Mr. Tough Guy if she had chosen to climb in a more efficient manner, using the monkey hung technique, which is a climbing technique similar to how monkeys climb, as this would have been a lot faster and more efficient, sparing the weight of the entire body by using the rope to support the legs as well. This would have prevented her feet from hanging. Swinging like Tarzan on the monkey bars with their feet hanging was just a recipe for disaster, and explained why only Mr. Tough Guy had the proper strength to climb this way. It's way harder. She made the right move on not waiting around, because even though she was at a safe vantage point from before, waiting there would have only increased the risk of potentially getting shot or injured from the already trigger-happy police force, as they clearly have no idea what's really going on or who the enemy really is. After landing on the ledge from the climb, I would have looked around the building first, looking through each of the accessible windows before making my move, and I would have taken off my clothing to wrap around my arm and elbow before smashing in the window. Now, we may have taken off our only bit of clothing, but this layer around our arms could have also served as a layer of hand protection and would have allowed us to grab a shard of the broken window glass safely before combating the zombie that was in the office, giving us an edge over the zombie with our very own makeshift weapon. Hyesun was already in a sealed room, and last time I checked, zombies can't open doors, at least not easily. This means in theory I could have cleared the hallway room by room, using the opening and closing of doors as methods of allowing me to safely control the entries and exits of this area without getting bitten by surprise. Approaching this situation more slowly and carefully could have also let us sneak up on that group of zombies that Hyesun passed, and if we wanted to, we could have also closed that door, trapping the zombies in the room. Hyesun's noisy and panicked approach to this situation caused a herd of zombies to chase her, and if we failed to close the door to the zombies earlier, we still have another method of taking them out. After jumping down from the roof, Hyesun could have stayed put for a sec before crossing the scaffolding by letting the stupid zombies throw themselves from the roofs like dodos off a cliff. Also, why is she crossing on the edge of the metal frame? It would have been safer to cross from within the middle. In case you fell, you'd at least have a shot to grab onto something. Hyesun wakes up after the fall and realizes she's on the balcony of another apartment. But is it safe? Injured, tired, and afraid, Hyesun calls out for help, but unluckily, no one in the apartment answers. Turns out Hyesun is in a model apartment building filled with showroom furniture. She checks the place out and realizes it's all model apartments around her, with nobody dead or alive to be seen. Sad and all alone, she gives up as she gets a call from her ex-boyfriend asking where she is. She tells him her location and then sits and waits. Exhausted from all the death around her, Hye-sun takes a nap as she comes to the realization that everyone she has ever loved or will love is dead, and it's only a matter of time until it's her turn. Hye-sun wakes up to her ex-boyfriend, and everything is all happy boyfriend-girlfriend makeup session until another older man enters the apartment. Hye-sun looks shocked and terrified as the boyfriend says he met Hye-sun's dad at her apartment earlier that night. Hye-sun reveals that this man is not her dad, but actually her daddy, as in her ex-pimp. Turns out Hye-sun owes Mr. Pimp some money. Pissed off at Hye-sun, Mr. Pimp tries to take her from the ex-boyfriend as they both get into a fight. But this fight turns violent, involving a lot of quick moves as Mr. Pimp slices the ex-boyfriend's throat. The ex-boyfriend slowly dies as Hye-sun bolts out of there, turning out to be just as cold as the corpses she's running from. Mr. Pimp goes searching for Hye-sun, looking in all the model apartments until Hye-sun comes from behind and tries to knock him out with a marble statue. But Mr. Pimp is too damn quick for poor old Ice Queen, Hye-sun, as he blocks her and beats her to the ground, causing Hye-sun to pass out. Holy crap, this girl can't catch a break. First thing I would have done is checked for injuries and bruises, because apparently we're Korean superwoman. Next, I would have checked security for the building, even venturing down those stairs to see if everything was properly locked down and that there were no zombies down there. For defense, we could have brought along the knife from the fake kitchen, and by falling into this apartment model, we've already secured a possible rest location. It being nighttime means that this place would have already been closed and locked down for hours, and has more than enough beds for me and my ego. I also would have looked for a vending machine or a fridge containing water. As this being a model apartment, it's not crazy to think that they would have had stocks of water for guests already available nearby. These are the first few things I would have done before calling our ex-bae. In regards to our ex-boyfriend and our pimp daddy, Hye-sun acted useless till the end. There were several items in that apartment that Hye-sun could have used to try and take Mr. Pimp out before and after he already had that knife. From the chair to the pot to the glasses and plates, pretty much anything in that kitchen could have been used. But while driving the chair into Mr. Pimp would have made for a good tactical barrier between his knife and our flesh. Hye-sun could have grabbed the knife when Mr. Pimp was busy killing our ex-boyfriend. There were bunches of knives available to her, and she could have easily sliced his neck or cut right through his accessible armpit, hitting the shallow axillary artery located right beneath the surface of the armpit, and one artery that could have done some serious damage if cut. However, running away from Mr. Pimp was also a solid move, although she simply could have hid behind an entranceway door on the side away from the door hinge, allowing her to have full access to Mr. Pimp as he would have entered, grabbing his knife with one hand and stabbing him with the other, seriously injuring him before running away again. This would have been a much safer option and would have saved us from directly taking him on.
An unconscious Hye-sun is taken by Mr. Pimp as he readies to take her on the bed.
However, he slowly notices that Hye-sun isn't breathing. Mr. Pimp is scared and afraid, trying to bring Hye-sun back to life as he begs for her forgiveness. Although in the middle of all of this, he notices a scratch on Hye-sun's right ankle and a scary infection taking over her body. Holy crap. As he looks right up, he sees his very own zombie nightmare right up close. Like a scared child in front of a deadly snake, Mr. Pimp tries to back away just as Hye-sun pounces on him, eagerly devouring her new man meal. We look up to see a destroyed city, with the zombie infection now slowly but surely taking over the entire nation, as we look onto a destroyed Seoul, just as the sun rises for the next day, right on time for the final departing train to Busan.
And if you don't want Mr. Pimp coming back to bite your girlfriend, then like, comment, let us know what you liked and of course didn't like, and check out the How to Be playlist down below.